So I think I am audible. So I think I am audible. Hmm. All right. So basically, in this video, we will have discussion on some very untouched, unknown, unheard topics. Basically, it's about a home versus Mughal struggles. So basically, we all have read about the prominent characteristics, prominent personality Akbar, but and also Mughal in our history textbook. But the struggles of Mughals with Ahom is very unheard. Is not so much covered in our textbooks, even in NCRT. So. In history optionals, way back there was one questions on what was the resistance offered by the Ahom state against Mughal rule. So in this sessions, we will have this short discussions on Ahom struggles vis-a-vis Mughals, right? So, so in the early 13th century, there existed two kingdoms in the northeast region of India. Kamrup, we all know that Kamrup has way back in history, in ancient history. Today's Assams, most part of the Assams is was Kamrup at that time. So Kamrup with its capital Prayag Jyotispur, which is modern Guwahati, and the home kingdoms further of the northeast. So so way back in early 13th century, there was two kingdoms. One was Kamrup, with its capital Prayag Jyotispur, and another was a home kingdom, which was in the northeast, right? So Ahom Mughal conflict referred to the period between the first Mughal attack on Ahom kingdom in 1615. So for the first time, Mughals conflict with Ahom occurred in 1615, and final battle of Itakuli. So Itakuli was the final battle. Before Itakuli, the battle of Itakuli, there were a lot of the skirmishes took place between Mughals and the Ahom. So the final battle was Battle of Itakuli in 1682, right? So question is that why Mughal invaded Ahom? The first and the most important question is that why? Obviously for political, if you think politically, then obviously in order to capture more territories, we would have a more and more areas. So the first reason is that territorial expansion. This is natural. Okay, any ruler will do it, right? And second is that these rich natural resources, obviously, because that northeast was untouched. Let's say in even Delhi Sultanate and way back in ancient history, if you talk about the northeast region and as well as the southern part of India was not so much touched by the any rulers, right? Even the great ruler Asuka and even the Samudragupta, you know, uh, both were known for the expansionist power. So they didn't have reached, you can say the southernmost part of the India. So in the same way, in the northeast, you won't find that there are so many rulers who were, the prominent rulers who penetrated in the northeast, right? So that's why, and if they aren't penetrated in the northeast, obviously there are lot of the resources. So because in forest areas there are a lot of resources of medicinal values and all, and also the if you say elephants and all others means of transport, right? Also the yes, elephant is there. So for the one of the prominent reason was elephant. So that's why Mughals also invaded, because at that time, though the with the arrival of Babur, the cannons and all things have appeared before Indian subcontinent. But though elephant were also the prominent means of warfare at that time, it was not like that elephants were not completely out of use. So even at that time, elephants were used besides the cannon, musketeers, artilleries, and gunpowders as well. So fourth reason is the aromatic plants. So aromatic plants, which was very lovable by the rulers, uh, because as far as Jahangir is concerned, Jahangir was very Jahangir and his wife Noor Jahan. was very much concerns about Itra, what is called perfume. That is, and at that time it was known as Jahangiri Itra. So I think aromatic plants. I think from aromatic plants, a lot of the you know we can say aesthetics. I would say objects or things could be obtained. So that's what this is one of the reasons. And fifth is that interference in Kamrup by home against Mughal. Okay, so this is a interference in Kamrup by Ahom in against Mughal. So because Ahom basically because Ahom and Kamrup both are set apart. So while Ahom tried to capture the Kamrup, so that's become one of the prominent reason for the interference by the Mughals in that region. Because Ahom has already captures the Kamrupa, and that forced the Mughals to attack on Ahom, because you can't capture one territory without Mughal, because India at that time there was sovereignty of Mughal. So you can't capture the regions which were not captured by the Mughals yet so far. So this is one of the so how these struggles or skirmishes took place across the rulers of Mughals. So during the Jahangir, firstly Jahangir, because before Jahangir, Akbar. So Akbar was not so much was very concerns regarding Mughals. So the main struggles between Ahoms and Mughals took place from the Jahangir period, right? So in 17th century, Ahom kingdom came in the direct contact with the Mughals, correct? The period witnessed conquest of Kamrup under Jahangir in 1612. So for the first time, you will find that uh, the regarding skirmishes took place in Jahangir time period, which is in 1612. So for Jahangir time period, basically 1609, starting from 1609 to 1650, 1628, yes. And from 1628 to 1658, Shahjahan period started. So 1609 to 1656, around 58. 1628, right? So this is a period of Jahangir. So in 1612, the Jahangir and Ahom skirmishes first took place. Since Ahom rulers had helped Kamrup during the war, Jahangir invaded Ahom kingdom, because at that time the fight between the Kamrup, one side Kamrup and another side was Mughal. So already and Kamrupa was supported by the Ahom rulers, and that made the Mughals forced to capture the Ahom kingdom. So in Jahangir invaded Ahom kingdom in 1615. First of all, Jahangir invaded Kamrupa in 1612, and because Kamrupa was supported by the Ahom, and that made Jahangir to attack on Ahom in 1615, but could not get much success due to difficult terrain. This is one of the you can say drawback, because northeast region is so much difficult to reach even today's today's time. So it is very difficult to penetrate by the rulers. Because roads and transportation means are not so much there. Even there is lack of well planned infrastructure. So that today even not talking about talking about Shahjahan period starting from 1628 to 1658. So Shahjahan continued the war against the home kingdom during 1636 and 39. So Shahjahan did the same thing as Jahangir did. So and finally imposed a treaty which fixed Budh Nadi. Nadi means river, and Budh, that's in the context of Brahmaputra. So Brahmaputra was at the time was known by the river Budh Nadi as a boundary between the Mughals and Ahom. So during Jahangir period, the uh, the boundary between Mughals and the Ahom was you know Brahmaputra rivers. So and so Brahmaputra ke is side mein you will find the Mughals, and 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 that side will be Ahom regions, right? So Ahom also accepted Mughals' accessions of Kamrupa, and trade between the two kingdoms was also facilitated. Finally, Ahom accepted this treaty, and finally there was some sort of, you can say, conciliation between the Mughals and the Ahom, right? So 1648, Ahom ruler Jadwaj. अब आते हैं मेन बात पे, क्या कि 1648 में 1648 में जयध्वज का नाम एक शख्स जो था, उसने ढाका पे अटैक किया. ढाका, यू कैन से, at that time, because British were used to call Dhaka. So Dhaka, Jayadhwaj sacked Dhaka and expelled Mughals from Guwahati, taking advantage of illness of Shahjahan. When Shahjahan fall ill, right? So taking the opportunity of this situation, the home tried to capture the Dhaka and expel Mughals from Guwahati, right? So this was the one time. This was one aspect because Ahom tried to utilize these situations and finally expel the Mughals from the Guwahati region. Now comes Aurangzeb, Jinda Pir and Alamgir. So औरंगजेब छोड़ेगा नहीं इसको. अब देखो क्या होता है. During the War of Succession 1656 to 1658, War of Succession means Battle of uh, Dharmat, the Battle of Samurgad. So a hell lot of battles took place in this war, right? One more battle, and that battle is located in battleground is located in Madhya Pradesh. The Dharmat is there in Madhya Pradesh, Samurgad, and one more battle I'm forgetting. Anyway, so during the War of Succession in Mughal kingdom, the home ruler Pran Narayan seized Kamrup from the Mughals. So finally Aurangzeb arrived. While he was busy in a war of succession, so finally Ahom ruler Pran Narayan seized Kamrupa from Mughals. So this Kamrupa was taken by the Pran Narayan from Mughals because uh, because Jahangir had already taken this Kamrupa, and now during the time of Aurangzeb this Kamrupa was taken back by the Ahom. So by whom? The Pran Narayan. Okay. Aurangzeb retaliated by appointing Mir Jumla in the area to recover the lost territories and also to capture Suja, who had fled from Bengal towards Arakan. So Suja was the Aurangzeb brother, and he had also fled to the Arakan because why? Because there was a war of succession and one party supporting this party and this party supporting this party. So that's why Aurangzeb brothers Suja was also fled to the Arakans, which is like Arakan is like present day Myanmar, right? Region Arakan mountains. So Mir Jumla, what Aurangzeb appointing Mir Jumla because Mir Jumla role is very important because Mir Jumla was a maternal uncle of Aurangzeb, and Mir Jumla at that time was very much rich officials, you can say. He was also fond of merchant, right? Because he was also so much prominently involved in trading activities. So this also become the reason why during the times of Mughal the trading activities was at its zenith, right, at its peak. And so Mir Jumla was appointed by the Aurangzeb, and finally, why? Because the lost territories, because Mughal has already lost the territories, Kamrupa has been lost by the Mughals. So in order to acquire the territories, the Mir Jumla was appointed by the Aurangzeb, and and one more reason was that Suja had also fled this region, that is Arakan region. So what was the strategies adopted by Mir Jumla is that so he unleashed the major campaign and he used 50,000 soldiers, you can see, and 300 ships together. You can see at that time. So there was also deployment of, you can say, a ship, that is a naval power, right? Like Shivaji, I think Aurangzeb was also inspired from Shivaji that the naval strength, like which was with happening with Shivaji. So because mostly till Shahjahan, I mean till Shahjahan times the naval strength of Mughaliya Sultanate was not so much strong. But as far as Aurangzeb is concerned, he tried to focus on navy, right? So Mir Jumla basically he had 300 ships and he employed that 300 ships and finally with also 50,000 soldiers and finally and finally he tried to attack where Kuch Bihar and advanced into the Kamrupa up to as far as modern Guwahati is right. So he finally attacked Kuch Bihar and which is as far as modern Guwahati is concerned. So he tried to capture the Guwahati. So he tried to basically he tried to capture the modern Guwahati and which is a Kuch Bihar, right? Kuch Bihar is a very prominent region, which was also film. Basically, what was the film where Saudi I think movie is there and where this Kuch Bihar region was used because in Kuch Bihar there was violence erupted. I'm remembering, yeah, and though it was not so much, it was fiction. It was yes, fiction movie. So he occupied important forts of the area and mounted pressure on the Ahom ruler Jadwaj. So what at that time Jadwaj was you can fighting from their home side, and so he tried to occupy the important forts of the area of so important forts were occupied by the Mughals, and from the Ahom side he tried to pressurize the Mughals, right? And basically was countering. So the easy access of Mir Jumla was due to dissatisfaction in the Assam camp. So finally, because there was also, so you can say, so dissatisfaction among Assam camp or you can say a home party. So there was finally Mir Jumla tried to, win the territories there, right? So finally, Jad was agreed to treaty. So finally, Ahom won the, we can say, you know, won the, these battles, and finally 1663 treaty signed, and he accepted the Mughal suzerainty and surrendered some territories and pay heavy indemnity and surrender one of his daughter as hostage to at Mughal court. So finally the you can say condemnity treaty was signed between the Jaidwaj and the, you can say, Mughals from Mughal side, who was Mir Jumla. So and what and daughter was used as a hostage at the Mughal court. So finally, but success was shortly. Why? Because the death of Mir Jumla that occurred soon after treaty weakened the Mughal position, as Jadhwa soon recovered his lost areas. So the Kamrupa areas and this Guwahati areas basically was finally Guwahati and Kuch Bihar area was won by the whom, by the you can say Ahom, because the Mir Jumla was become ill at that time. So and the final battle is Battle of Saraighat, which we all know that time and again we have seen in media. So Battle of Saraighat is very important battles for the first time, where when Mughal completely, you can say, not completely, but yeah, give a very major you can say setback to the Mughals, right? So the Battle of Saraighat. So in December 1667, the Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb, after receiving the information of the capture of Guwahati by the Ahoms, dispatched a strong army to solve the problem once for all. He commissioned Raja Ram Singh first of Amer, the son of Mirza Raja Jai Singh, because during the times of Aurangzeb, around 33% of nobles, or the nobility comprises basically the from the around 33% from the Hindu side, or you can say non-Muslim nobles, right? So around 33% of in the Aurangzeb nobility was non-Muslim nobles. So you can say he trusted on Raja Ram Singh first of Amir, and during the Aurangzeb time, it was a very high. There was a large number of Hindu nobles were employed, around 33% of the entire nobility. So he trusted. So Aurangzeb trusted the Raja Ram Singh of Amir, and he commissioned him to lead an invasion, to lead an attack on Ahom. So and he trusted Raja Ram Singh of Amir. So finally, Battle of Saraighat took place, and this was a naval battle finally, and fought in 1671 between the Mughals led by Raja Ram Singh first and the Ahom. This is the name Lachit Borfukan. This is an important personality, where you can see that the Lachit Borfukan was the important personality from the home side, and he took the, you can say, he took leadership from the home side, and he was the commander of chief of Ahom on the Brahmaputra river at Saraighat. So this Saraighat battle took place on Brahmaputra river, right? And this was last major battle between Ahoms and Mughals. Although much weaker, Ahom army defeated the Mughal army by brilliant uses of the terrain, because Ahom were very much very much aware about the trains, and he used also diplomatic negotiation to buy times and guerrilla tactics, obviously, because in the even most of the hilly regions and most of the forested regions, many people who knew the trains, they are masters of using the guerrilla tactics or guerrilla warfare. So similarly, Ahom also used, because this guerrilla warfare mostly used by tribals origin. So Ahom used guerrilla warfare, and finally he exploited the situation, because Mughals were not aware about the train, neither they were aware about the guerrilla warfare, right? So because, and finally Mughals got subordinated for the Ahom. So it was the most decisive victory of Ahom. Though Mughals managed to regain Guwahati briefly later on, Ahom wrested control in the Battle of Itakuli. So finally, in the Battle of Itakuli took place, which I told you, and so Ahom wrested control the region, that is Guwahati. So and maintain, and though the Mughals managed to regain Guwahati, briefly later on, the Ahom wrested control in Battle of Itakuli in 1682 and maintained it till the end of their rule. It ended Mughal control in Kamrup forever, because finally Mughal went back and lost the territory of Kamrupa, and finally the victory, you can say, the victory of Ahom led by Lachit Borfukan, right? And it made secure the territory, that is Kamrupa. So why Mughals not able to hold the north? Because yes, difficult terrain, yes, and also the lack of proper awareness of topographical condition of northeast. Another major reason could be guerrilla warfare, which Mughal were unaware about it, and you can say that the the kind of strategies, like, and also he tried to opportunity, I mean, he tried to Mughals were not, Mughals faced a lot of this setback because Jahangir was fallen. Similarly, there was war of succession during the during Aurangzeb times, right, between the sons of Shah Jahan and the brothers of Aurangzeb and Aurangzeb himself. So a hell lot of the problems which was happening around Mughal Sultanate. So this also become the regions, and also finally the leadership of this Ahom, Ahom kingdom under Jad was under Lachitpur Fukan, right? So these were the these were the regions, right, for the victory of Ahom over the Mughals, right? So this is so much unheard topics, and because this is not so much covered in the history textbook, so I thought this is very, I think, very good important topic to be discussed here, right? So that because also there is a rewriting of history, so obviously government of India has also try to focus on those personalities which are not so much discussed in the mainstream, and which are not going to be discussed because the history has been the history of victors, right? So once a famous personality said that history has been written by the victors. So basically these travel histories should be, or we can subaltern history, right? Should be our this topic of discussion. So I thought to discuss. So signing up, Murli.